Hello, and welcome to my channel. Today I watched the film The Book of Clarence, and now I want to review it for you. It's a parody retelling of the story of Jesus Christ, written and directed by James Samuel. The film stars Lakeith Stanfield as Clarence, Omar Sy as Barabbas, and Anna Diop as Verinia. The story follows a man named Clarence who lives in Jerusalem. He's the twin brother of the Apostle Thomas, but unlike his brother, he is not a pious man. He's an atheist who doesn't believe in God and a drug dealer. After making a bad bet, he ends up owing a dangerous man a lot of money. While looking for a solution, he sees Jesus and his disciples go by and rake in a ton of donations on their way. Hoping to make some quick cash, Clarence decides to pretend to be the Messiah and quickly finds himself caught up in a much bigger story. There is a little bit of romance, a lot of humor, and random sprinkles of different genres throughout the film. The humor is a somewhat modern mix of jokes about religion, race, dogmatic people, and jokes about the setting and period. The cast mostly revolves around Clarence and his friends. They're all normal people of Jerusalem who are just trying to make a living. Then there is Jesus and his apostles, which includes Clarence's twin brother Thomas. They're pious men who look down on Clarence. Next we have the Romans and Pontius Pilate. They're your typical evil fascists who oppress the people and oppose Clarence at every turn. Pontius is a bit more forgiving, but he's still an authoritarian. Finally, you have Clarence himself. He's an intelligent man who feels small around his peers. He's always trying to prove his worth and getting himself into trouble with crazy ideas. In the beginning, he's a bit selfish and goes out of his way to harm others. Visually, the film takes place in a small stone village that kind of looks like an ancient city. We follow Clarence around as he takes part in shenanigans and meets with different stereotypical characters. There is also a little bit of excitement throughout the film in the form of action sequences, brutal moments, and big visual gags. It plays like a spoof with lots of cheesy stereotypical moments borrowed from other genres. Sound-wise, the film uses scored instrumentals and original songs from a variety of genres. There is hip-hop, R&B, blues, jazz, rock and roll, etc. The music tries to set the atmosphere and support the emotional journey while entertaining. The film sounds cinematic with music behind every scene and the only instances of silence coming during intense emotional conversations. Even then, they usually have some quiet piano playing too. Okay, so how was it? The story has a lot of good moments in it. There is a ton of good humor, and the film seems to be quite self-aware. That said, some parts of the story aren't explained well and don't quite make sense, and there are quite a few emotional beats that fall flat on their face and don't feel earned. They spent too much time introducing new storylines and characters to make more jokes, and not enough time making Clarence's journey feel coherent. At times, he can magically do things that seem out of character, and his transition from selfish man to righteous man didn't feel all that natural. The cast did what was expected of them, and there are a lot of great moments because of it. The general cast plays a lot of stereotypes and shows off good timing. There are also a few supporting actors like Omar Sy and RJ Seiler who get to do some emotional work and they nail it. For standout performances, you have Lakeith Stanfield as Clarence. Clarence is a fairly normal guy at heart with a pretty good grasp of the world. He might be a cheat and a bit of a coward, but he stands by his people and tries to do what's right when he can. Throughout his journey, he's tortured, falls in love, and has a few deep moments of self-realization. Stanfield plays the emotional aspects of these moments incredibly well and does his best to make Clarence into a likable main character. He does a fantastic job. Visually, the film is a lot of fun and filled with great shots. They borrow from a lot of other films and create a lot of funny and fantastic moments that will have you hooting and hollering. The action sequences and the big dramatic moments were larger than life and exceptionally well done as well. In terms of standout visuals, there's so much here that you can take your pick. The movie starts with a chariot race, has several great hand-to-hand fights, a couple of brutal torture moments, a dance number, and a big dramatic moment every 20 minutes or so. The film looks great and there are a lot of standout visuals. Sound-wise, the film makes great use of its tracks. The instrumentals and the original songs are catchy and refreshing while still having a fairly large impact. They aren't the most memorable songs, but they're used well and never interfere with the story. There's also a ton of moments that become far more cinematic due to the music. Like every time Jesus shows up, we get some intense, mystical sounding music, and then he pulls off a miracle. It makes him feel like Neo. Overall, The Book of Clarence is a funny film with some great acting, fun visuals, and a catchy soundtrack. Its only real flaw is its story. They tried to do too much with it, and at times it feels rushed and unexplained. If you're in the mood for something light, consider giving this a chance. As for a rating, I'd give this film a 7 out of 10. Remember, these are just my thoughts on the film. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Bye-bye.